winners? Let the pros show you how to make money. General Manager Al DeMarco, a regular contributor on Fox Sports, MSNBC, and Comcast Sports TV, brings over 25 years of handicapping experience to the table. CEO Steve Budin, the author of Bets, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, is the man responsible for creating the online betting industry. Together, they lead PickNation.com, your #1 source for winners.
Week 1 of the NFL season saw the NFL underdogs do too much barking in Las Vegas, and a lot of games going over the total. Week 2 kicking off today, and guys, we are ready over the next 60 minutes to break down every single game for you from a point spread perspective. You have reached and are watching the Pick Nation Report. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager of PickNation.com, along with the site's CEO, Steve Budin. And every single Sunday, we are breaking down every single game on the board, telling you who we think is going to get you the money in Vegas. Coming up in the next hour, we've got handicapper Trace Adams, who's going to check in. He hit 2 out of 3 free picks he gave you last week. He's going to be talking about 3 of his featured games today. Plus, we're going to talk fantasy football in about 20 minutes, guys, how you can make some big money and a free shot at making some big money as well in fantasy football. Guys, I've been a professional sports handicapper for over 25 years, which is way too long when I think about that. I've been gambling even longer, just in case my mom's watching. That's an honest admission, guys. But, you know, I got my start, though, actually as a sports reporter. I used the experience I gained from being in the locker rooms, covering teams, players. And instead of relying on just that computer mumbo-jumbo and ATS trends, I look at games from a personnel matchup, and it's worked. I've won 8 of the last 9 football seasons. Steve Budin, however, other side of the fence, literally and figuratively at one time, because this is a guy whose father was a bookmaker, he was a bookmaker, and Steve Budin is the one who basically created what we now know as the offshore sportsbook industry. So you look at games totally different perspective than I do.
Right, so where you draw from your experiences from talking to the actual players in and around the locker rooms, they don't let me anywhere near the players or the locker rooms. I got to tell you, Al, after a long summer of waiting and debating, it finally felt good to spend the weekend eating too much, drinking too much, and not betting nearly enough, because after going 6-0 with my first 6 football bets, you never can bet enough money when you go 6-0.
No, contrary to popular opinion, greed is good. I mean, it is very good when you're gambling and you're winning. Guys, it is a good card. You know, historically, I've always found that in week 1 of the season, the favorites come in. Wasn't the case last week. I've always found week number 2, historically, it's the dogs, because the lines get adjusted based on the public perception. As a bookmaker, I'm sure you're 100% aware of what I'm talking about.
Well, we know the conventional wisdom gets all the gamblers in trouble, because the bookmakers and the odds makers is constantly adjusting those lines to the trends. So yeah, if you do exactly what you do every year, you're bound to lose.
And you know, the first game on today's card, we'll run these down in Vegas order, is Chicago and New Orleans. We talked about the Bears last week on the show.
Yep.
We both liked the Bears, and we're surprised they were a home dog against an Atlanta team that doesn't play well on grass and really hadn't proven itself on the road. And, I mean, the Bears absolutely shellacked the Falcons last week. Now you got New Orleans here, and you've got the Saints. We all saw what happened 2 Thursdays ago. I gave out a free play on the Packers. I had the over in the game. Was that the easiest bet in the world? I mean, almost by halftime, the darn game was over.
That's right.
But you know, I'm kind of surprised at the number they posted in this game, sitting right there at a touchdown, especially when you consider that New Orleans, you know, Drew Brees lost his #1 wide receiver for at least probably 4 weeks with a broken collarbone, Marcus Colston, and Lance Moore, the #2 receiver from a year ago, he's out. Reggie Bush, who was always his safety outlet out of the backfield, he's gone. Of course, they do have Darren Sproles, who's a good receiver out of the backfield. Yet, it's almost like the odds makers are trying to lure you into playing the Bears because, you know, public perception would be, oh my God, the Bears just kicked Atlanta's you-know-what. They're getting no respect. I got to grab the points.
Well, we all saw it. New Orleans last week played at a different level. They really are firing it up on all cylinders. Drew Brees picking apart a great Green Bay defense, and I think everybody knows that there's a big difference between playing at home against Atlanta and traveling to the Dome and playing the Saints. I think in this one, you got to lay those 7 points. You beware of the trap. Don't do what the odds makers want you to do. Go against that, minus the 7 points with the Saints, and you got the winner.
I mean, and let's not confuse anything here. The Saints' defense was just pathetic against Green Bay. But then again, it's the Packers. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's probably next to Tom Brady's Patriots, the best offense in the league.
A well-oiled machine.
Right, exactly. Now, some will say, oh, the Bears are going to have the advantage here because it's inside. That plays to their speed wide receivers with Roy Williams and Devin Hester. So, I mean, I don't know if the Bears are going to be able to keep Drew Brees off the board. And at this price, I'm like you. I think you go against what the odds makers are trying to do and trying to trap you into taking the Saints. Instead, I think you go, or excuse me, the Bears, and you go with the Saints. You throw out all that ATS stuff that shows they're only 10, 19, and 1 against the spread in their last 30 games. Instead, I think one of the more significant trends is how resilient a team is. And you know, the Saints last year, 3-1 straight up and against the spread coming off a straight-up loss. A must-win game for them, obviously. You cannot afford to start 0-2 in the season. So I like the Saints here as well. I just don't think Green Bay has enough offense. And the other thing that bothered me about, or excuse me, the Bears have enough offense. The other thing that bothers me about Chicago is, you know, it's almost like overlooked. Jay Cutler got sacked 5 times last week. I mean, still pass protection problems for Chicago.
No such thing as a good loss in the NFL, but I do think New Orleans comes back after that game. They manned up. They put in a great effort until the last second of the game.
Last drive.
Still had a shot to tie the game and send it into OT. I think they take a lot from that loss. They regather themselves, refocus. I think they come out firing.
Hey, we want to head to the phones and pick up with Dan from Dallas. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, guys. Love the show.
Thank you so much.
I just had 2 games I wanted to get your opinions on. First, I wanted to know what you guys think about Dallas coming back possibly from their loss Sunday night. And also, who do you guys like in the Houston-Miami game?
Okay, well, first let's take a look at the Cowboys game with the 49ers. Cowboys, huge collapse on Sunday night, blowing the 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. Got the cover, but certainly didn't get the win. Now they're laying 3.5, which I think is a fair price number at San Francisco.
Interesting game for Dallas. And Tony Romo, if you're out there, I just got to ask you, why in the world are you going to try Darrelle Revis? Don't you ever do that again. Look, they had every right to consider themselves winners in that game, but if you don't play the full game and you don't stay focused and you lose that focus as a quarterback, we see what can happen, especially against a team like the Jets. The funny thing is for the Cowboys, even though it's only week 2, I think this next game is going to define the rest of the season for them. If they don't come out strong here and win, I think they're going to have a problem long-term this season.
Oh, wholeheartedly. I mean, they cannot afford to start 0-2, especially in the first full season of the Jason Garrett tenure. But, you know, San Francisco, you know, opened up the big early lead against Seattle, let the Seahawks come back, but then put the game away with some great special team play, especially with that Ted Ginn offensive return, and played well defensively against the Seahawks. So, you know, again, as I said, I think this game is fairly priced. You lean which way?
Cowboys.
Interesting. Hey, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll get to Dan's other game. Want to save over $600 today? Want to get the plays of all 10 PickNation.com handicappers today for free? I'm talking over $600 of football action free today, no strings attached. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager of the world's largest online sports gambling community, PickNation.com. Right now, you can get the plays of all 10 handicappers at PickNation.com for free simply by using our one-day free all-access pass. And free really means free. Just go to PickNation.com, click on the free one-day all-access pass, and you'll get all the plays of all 10 handicappers for free today. That's over $600 of action on the house. Why am I doing it? Because I'm that confident that I built a staff of the nation's premier handicappers, guys that can make you money this season. What better way to prove it than by giving you all their action today for free, no strings attached. What are you waiting for? Check out the free one-day all-access pass right now over on PickNation.com.